Hi everyone, my name is Jason Schneider. I am leaving this video from Medford, Oregon, where I am staying in an Airbnb. I currently live in Bend, Oregon, and the organization that I'm with, I guess currently, is Civic Possible. I own my own consulting firm. I spend a lot of time doing ecosystem development work through consulting, so I work with a lot of different communities around the country and end up working as, I call it, an ecosystem cross-pollinator, so to speak. And one of the reasons I'm in Medford at the moment is I'm a top candidate to be the Economic Development District's executive director, and so we will see where that plays out. I've also worked with a number of the folks in this community to actually apply to be the host for one of the upcoming SCN summits. So we'll see how all of that plays out. But right now, the organization that I'm with is Civic Possible, and we do a lot of cross-pollination work, a lot of strategic planning, a lot of vision work, a lot of program design around mostly rural economic development communities. So my history with ecosystems and the eShip Alliance, oh boy, I've been doing ecosystem work for about 20, maybe 25 years, not realizing that ecosystem was a term at all until I met Annika maybe 3 years ago, and then Kristen Lutz a few years ago. And when we started chatting, they both were like, wait, how do you not know this? How are you not involved? So I started going to the SCN conferences and meeting a bunch of the folks who have been formally involved for a long time. So my work is, I've been business owner, a city councilor, a chamber director, a small business coach, organizational development coach, mostly in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, also quite a bit across Oregon, and a bit in the South Pacific and Vietnam. And for me, it was just organic. It was starting to recognize professionally that we can't have nice things because we're not working well together. So how do we get everybody working better together? I also happen to be a co-op geek as far as a business model structure. So I started getting involved in co-ops and really just started figuring out, like, okay, how do we get everybody playing nicely together, whether it's a civic ecosystem or an economic development ecosystem. And when I was 30, I spent time in the Peace Corps in the South Pacific and did a lot of ecosystem work there, convincing people to work together. I often refer to it as tricking people into fishing for themselves, or at a potluck, I will just say that I often just trick people into working together, because it really is about setting up those scenarios to get everybody in the right mind frame at the right time to work together and see what they have in common, to be able to break down some of those barriers. With the eShip Alliance, I haven't been very directly involved, but I've known a number of the people who have been involved in getting it up and off the ground. I've been going to the SCN summits have I been to 3 or 4 of them now? I don't really remember. Got involved with Faye and Andy and Main Street for the E3 communities and visited 20 different communities through the Equitable Entrepreneurial Ecosystem process and got to know a lot more people there. I've also gotten to know the Venn Collaborative crew fairly well because they've done some work in my hometown of Northern Michigan, and we've overlapped quite a bit in my work in Oregon, so most recently in Oregon, the state of Oregon pushed out 9 innovation hubs, grants for 9 innovation hubs, and I helped design 2 of them. So multi-county regions, 30 plus partners for each one, figuring out what's authentic to them, and then running them through a co-design process. They both ended up getting funding to be innovation hubs, and Civic Possible, myself, has been working for the last year to coordinate between all 9 so that there's peer-to-peer education. We're actually building a statewide ecosystem, and we just got renewed for a second round of that. So the next 2 years we'll also be coordinating between all 9 innovation hubs. And that's really the space that I play in. It's like, how does somebody in one community in their own authentic way learn what's going on for them and share that information in some way that another community that's very, very different can actually pick up and learn from. So that's honestly the reason that I'm interested in this. This is the type of work that I've been doing for a very, very long time, of getting people working together and having a deeper understanding of what the work actually is, the adaptive work, the human work of it. And So I'm particularly interested, once I started getting involved in SCN and getting to know a number of the individuals involved in the ecosystem concept, I started realizing how applicable it is and being really excited that there's other people who have been focusing on the same thing in a more formal way. So one, I want to be involved in a more formal way. Two, the other reason is I really geek out on organizational governance and design, and how do you actually manage an organization well. I've served on over 10 boards, including some that I've helped start up from scratch. I really geek out on bylaws and process and figuring out the best way that a board can be supportive of the work that's done and be visionary, but without getting into the weeds of what management is doing, and then being able to take the lessons that I've learned from over 100 different communities that I've worked with and bring that in as a perspective, particularly the rural communities, because frankly, I look like this. I fit in rural fairly well. I don't try to trip their immune system. And so I want to be able to bring that perspective in along with a lot of the other representation that we have. So there's, I am sure, a bunch of great candidates. If it's me, awesome. If it's somebody else, awesome. I just thought I would throw my name in the hat. There's two other questions that were asked. One is, what would I like to see happen? And for me, I feel like I would like to spend some energy moving beyond the buzzword and really having a deeper understanding collectively amongst all of us what ecosystem really means, because I think there's a lot of components of ecosystem, particularly like if you're going off of Feld's model around the network capital and cultural capital, that we don't yet know how to understand, communicate, or measure. We know that it's really important, but just like in the natural ecosystem world, about 25 years ago, they started understanding how important the mycorrhizal network was in connecting trees. I think that there's an infinite number of those types of things that we haven't yet discovered, identified, or learned to communicate about in our economic development ecosystems. And I would like to spend some of our time and energy focusing on how to define that and how to bring those things into not only into the vocabulary of the people that are doing our work, but really give tools for helping a lot of the ecosystem builders in their own communities convince and help their partners understand how important this stuff is. I'm just excited to see eShip Alliance get going. Happy to lend in my time and energy if I can. So please, if you feel up for it, give me a vote. If not, I'm looking forward to working with whomever ends up being selected. On top of all of that, I was asked to offer a fun fact up about myself. And oh boy, there's many, but the first one that I go to is I have been a roller derby referee for 15 years now. It's been something that I enjoy immensely because it is utterly ridiculous, and I get to play a background role as a support structure to a bunch of badass women who are playing a really cool game. So with that, I hope to get your vote. If not, it's all good. If you ever feel like, based on something I said, reach out, please feel free to reach out and we'll talk soon.